This is a Glassbox Media podcast.
Hey everybody, it is My Worst Date. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina.
And we just figured in our third year, as this is officially our now third year, that we would try to, act like a normal podcast, have a real intro.
Be profesh.
I know.
I mean, we'll see how it plays out.
Put on our big girl pants.
Yeah.
Talk about how you can buy big girl shirts that
That's
say
right.
really cool things on them.
Yeah, we actually, we had a really cool merch idea, and we say this a lot, don't yuck my yum. And it's kind of been one of those things that we've talked about for a long time. And we did come out with some new merch in June, and we specifically targeted it to be 100% of the proceeds of any merch with this design on it is going to go to the Trevor Project. And Threadless is a really amazing company that allows us to do that we can literally just type it in, so you don't have to worry about us on the backside trying to take that money and scoot it over. It's already set up within Threadless, so all you have to do is purchase it. 100% of the proceeds are going to go to the Trevor Project, which we're really excited about. It's a great organization that does so much for the LGBTQIA plus community.
There you go.
There it is. That's all of them. Well, and plus. So we are very excited to give donations to them. And with that being said, we are going to extend it all the way through the month of July, because Pride shouldn't happen just in the month of June.
That's right.
Just like, Asian people shouldn't just be celebrated in the months of, May and all those things. It should be a year round.
So weird.
Was it too far? Did I go too far? I was trying to be professional, and here we are. I'm just acting a fool.
Well,
off the rails.
We're working on it.
We're not saying we're good. We're just saying we're working on it.
No, the merch is a lot of fun, and we love seeing the pictures. And for everybody that has bought something or even commented on it, we really appreciate it. And yeah, I think that's it for business talk. We should slide into something a little bit more comfortable.
Something more comfortable.
Listen.
Oh no.
No, I mean, Christina,
Yes.
last week you talked about how you watched Bo Burnham's special Inside.
Yes.
I watched it.
Okay.
Oh.
It blew me away.
Yeah.
It was one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen.
Wasn't it
Really?
really moving too? At some points, as you're like, why is my heart hurting? But also this is hilarious, but also this is triggering, but also this is so many things at the same time.
Yeah. And just as someone who's had to create content, we create content for this show and things like that. I cannot believe that this person did all of this, that he wrote it, he directed it, he edited it, produced it. It's wild, the amount of work that went into it. But more than that, and this is kind of why I wanted to talk about it. I want to talk about, there was a really funny Reductress headline that said, how to recommend Bo Burnham's new special Inside without talking about your own mental illness in excruciating detail.
Yes.
Reductress nailed it once again.
Yes. And
Oh no.
the thing is about it, I think something interesting about it is that it came out kind of after we were in lockdown. We're not in lockdown anymore. The mask mandates have been lifted, at least here in California, all of that stuff.
Yep.
And I feel like people, they talk a lot about how the last Spanish flu, there wasn't a lot written about it. There wasn't a lot in pop culture about it. People just, when it was over, it was so traumatic for everyone that they just moved on, and they never talked about it again, and they never processed it. And everybody, when we were in lockdown, were like, that's crazy that could happen. And I kind of feel like that is what's happening. I feel like
absolutely.
people are just not acknowledging this collective trauma that we all experienced for a whole year. And when you watch this special, you can identify, or at least I could identify, when he's at his lowest,
Yeah.
I was just like, I remember that part.
Yeah.
Like that part of the lockdown when you were just like, I'm at an all-time low. I'm not doing well.
Yeah.
Like, mentally, because we're not meant to live like that. And I just feel like we haven't processed that at all.
No,
And so
people don't want to either. You're absolutely right. Everybody's just like, we're out.
Yeah.
bye.
While out.
But what are the long-term effects of just not talking about it? Just like not acknowledging
We
that
get
like
to
we
go
all
through this
suffered.
again in 100 years.
But it won't
No?
be us. So bye.
Sorry about you. Worry about it.
I feel like that's kind of what makes it so incredible is that, you know, it's this incredible piece of art that is so tied into that point of time that it really blew me away. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it too.
Oh man, and now all of the songs are on Spotify.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what does it say about my mental health that I cannot stop listening to
That
these
song
songs?
he does with the sock puppet, I was dying.
And he has a whole song about turning 30 in the pandemic, and I identified so fucking hard.
You're like, oh wait, did I
I was
write
like,
this?
oh. And he was born in 1990, which I was like, yeah, I represent, but also, oh my God, I'm so talentless.
No,
We're the same age.
no.
dude.
I'm like, Jesus Christ.
It's that whole thing. I still have this tank top in my drawer that's like saying something like you have the same number of hours in your day as like Beyonce, and I'm like, I need to stop with that shit because I'm like, I also don't have a chef. I don't have you know,
a driver. Right. Yeah. And yes, that's also true. I mean, Bo Burnham's insanely talented. It's very clear that he's insanely talented, but he also didn't have to hold down he could devote all of his time. His full-time job was making this comedy special for a year.
Which is still in itself
incredible.
like an incredible like feat. Whenever I've tried or had to be creative, and especially like during the lockdown, I felt like a lot of 2020 really sapped a lot of creative energy out.
Yeah.
Because we went into 2020 like, holy shit, we're doing this year. We're doing more live shows. We're going to go on tour, like all this other stuff. And then it just was like, like a balloon. And which we know how much Cassie likes balloons.
Hate balloons.
Yeah.
What a terrible analogy.
Well,
but you're right. Like the air was completely taken out of our, like we were like,
Sails
it
completely.
was just zoom. Okay. Well, no.
Yeah, and you didn't. And when you're dealing with mental health issues too, a lot of times the last thing you want to do is be creative. It's like all of your energy is just going into like surviving.
Living.
yeah.
Like, you know. So it's true. Oh man. Well, anyway, if you haven't seen it, you should see it. It's good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I haven't seen it yet.
No,
I'm excited.
Definitely worth it
Yeah.
for sure. Well, what else is going on in the future?
In the
In the future.
Well, Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox are married. Did they get married?
I have no
got
idea.
I think.
They're married. Yeah.
Wow, good for them.
I don't
didn't even
know. I'm like,
her
are they just
and-
engaged? I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't even know her and Home Dude got divorced.
Oh, I didn't either. Now
Brian
that you
Austin
say
Green?
that. Now that you say that, I'm like, okay. Like I knew they were separated. They'd been separated for a long time, but I didn't know that was official divorce.
Right. I have questions. I also have questions about the Ben and J-Lo thing, which we thought was just a simple rebound, but looks like
I believed in them.
full
Proud of myself.
on. You did.
I
You
believed
called
in them.
it because I was like,
Cassie and I talked about it. Yeah, like I want to believe in their love. It's a modern celebrity love story.
Nope. It's crashing and burning. You heard it here first. I'm going to say that by the time this episode airs, it's already done.
Oh shit.
Wow.
Okay.
I think this is going to be
Ooh.
old news by the time this episode airs.
Wow. Okay. My prediction is they do get married.
Oh, no.
And they do get divorced.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think it's going to last forever.
No, it's
I
not
don't-
forever.
I don't know if J-Lo is capable of forever, to be honest. That's how I feel. She doesn't feel like a forever kind
She reminds
of
me of
gal.
my grandma who's had a few husbands, you know, like
Well, the thing is,
Good for you.
I think J-Lo knows she knows she's J-Lo. She knows she's hot shit. Like, I don't think nobody can tell J-Lo nothing ever, you know?
I wouldn't tell her shit.
Me either.
So, yeah, I don't think that she just seems like she wants what she wants, get what she wants, and then if she doesn't get what she wants, she double deuces, you know what I mean?
I think it's fun right now. I think it's a distraction, but I think it doesn't last with the world reopening and everything. That's what I'm calling.
But,
I don't
okay,
think it's
here's my question.
works in the real world.
Because we all know that J-Lo, straight edge, doesn't drink.
Correct.
Oh, maybe that's good for him, though.
Ben used to drink a lot, but now is sober. So we don't know.
Great thing.
We don't know a sober Ben Affleck with J-Lo.
That's right.
Like, maybe it's totally different.
And he
Keegan
wasn't
makes
ready
the
to be
points.
sober when he was with her originally.
No.
It's one of those things where it's like right person, wrong time.
There it is.
Coming
Could
back
be.
around.
I just want to believe. Just let me believe. I do.
She's like, it's 20 years from now when we're having this podcast. Remember when we talked about Ben and J-Lo?
20 years from now is when they'll be getting their divorce.
Oh, no. I'll be like, I told you.
Oh my gosh.
I hope my voice isn't like that in 20 years, by the way. It's not that far away.
Well, who should we fuck, marry, kill this week?
Well, have we ever fuck, marry, killed like 2000s guys like Ben Affleck? Have we ever put him in a fuck,
Oh
marry,
my
kill?
gosh. Early
Ooh,
2000s
have
crushes.
we done Batmans?
We have done Batmans.
Batmans.
We could do the new ones, though. We got Ben up. Do we do him? Oh.
Yeah. This is actually like kind of interesting because another podcast that we're friends with, their latest episode I saw is on I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, God.
That movie. Movies that made us gay. Great podcast, great guys. And it just made me think because I was like, oh my God, I used to have the biggest crush on Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh, of course.
gosh.
Who did? Well, I feel like we talked about this with
Yeah,
Cassie. Cassie is not as much of a Freddie
fine.
Prinze.
But then you have like
fine.
Ryan Felipe.
Yes.
Those lips. He had those big, luscious lips. Yeah.
And I wasn't even really about the blonde guys back then. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there were a ton of those early 2000s movies who were like those hot guy crushes. The American Pie movies.
Oh, God.
Were any of them?
Mhm. Oh, Sean William Scott. You remember Sean
Yes.
William Scott?
He's not a dreamboat.
But no, I was talking about Chris Klein.
Chris Klein.
was
Yes.
the like
he was definitely like the early 2000s dreamboat guy.
Yes, he was like a
For
jock,
sure.
early 2000s
Yes.
jock guy. This guy, if you don't remember him.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Josh
yes.
Hartnett.
Josh
Yeah.
Hartnett, big time.
Yes, big time.
Well, even
him and his unibrow.
Vanderbeek.
Yeah.
Man, so okay, everyone pick an early 2000s guy they get a crush on. I'm sticking with Freddie Prinze Jr. I had such a crush on him from She's All That.
Oh, a problematic fave. You
Yeah.
guys can go listen to our go listen to our Patreon episode on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Josh Hartnett. Why not?
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Vanderbeek because he's had quite the glow up. He's one of those guys that like now, like I'm kind of like
He
I
was
like
90s,
him better
wasn't he?
now. Oh, it's really
I feel like he was 90s.
Vanderbeek wasn't Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, but that was
That
in
was
the
the
90s.
90s.
Oh, was it? Oh, Jesus.
I mean,
okay.
we can go with him. But
no,
yeah.
I mean, I guess I was thinking like, you know what you did last summer, like all that was all around the same time in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can lump it together.
Yeah. What was who was the guy that was in the Final Destination movie?
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God, who was that? Hold
Keegan,
on.
you would know this before.
Hold Final Destination. What a great series that is.
What it was?
What are they
great.
on? Like 8, 9 now?
Right? Like there's a lot of Final
Oh
Destinations.
God, I don't know this guy's name, but this pouty motherfucker right here on the cover,
Yes,
that guy.
yes. Who was that?
That's Devin Sawa.
Oh,
Brilliant.
God, he looks
What
totally
keeps coming
different.
up in our podcast? I feel like someone should reach out to him and be like,
these guys can't stop.
D-Saw, you need to...
D-Saw.
He seems like the kind who would respond, to be honest.
I
Like,
know. We're having, just so you know, tune in next week. Devin Sawa is going to be on our podcast.
you know who else was a big
I'll
early
go right-
2000s guy was John Mayer, and he dated fucking everybody.
He was.
He dated
He was the early 2000s
everyone.
Lothario for sure.
Fuck boy.
I think Ryan Felipe is more 90s to me than Vanderbeek.
Maybe. I think Vanderbeek's
Uh,
older than Ryan Felipe, yeah. But
I'll go Ryan Felipe. That's not. I don't have a problem with that.
Hey, it's your crush. I say we stick to James Vanderbeek.
Okay.
Okay, so James Vanderbeek, Freddie Prinze Jr.,
Josh Hartnett.
Okay. Oh, fuck, Mary Kill.
Josh Hartnett had quite a
know
glow
what-
up too.
I know what I'm going to do. He did have a glow up, and he was hot in Penny Dreadful. Like, he really was hot in Penny Dreadful. Like, okay. He looks good, a little, like, dirty. They tried to make him a little too clean in the early 2000s, and they shouldn't have. They just let him be kind of,
Rugged. Yeah.
I'm going to fuck Josh Hartnett. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to fuck Josh Hartnett.
He's tall.
I will say he is tall. He wasn't one of my biggest crushes in the early 2000s, but he was fucking huge. He was on the cover of like every teen girl magazine in like 2002, every magazine. But not my biggest guy, but him now, me now. I feel like it would be good. I just feel like it would be a good time. It's gonna be a fun time.
He's got arms.
He looks strong.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna marry Freddie Prinze Jr.
Dude, him and Michelle Gellar, Sarah Michelle Gellar, have been together forever.
Yeah.
They look so cute. Yeah.
Yeah, he seems devoted, dedicated. Just seems like
They
a
are
real
cute together.
good guy.
Yeah.
James Vanderbeek also seems like a really good guy.
Yeah.
I think he's got like 6 kids or something.
He seems super funny too. Like he definitely can laugh at himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's the thing, and don't come for me, internet. Don't come for me because I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum at all.
We don't.
But I saw him on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh no, I didn't watch that show.
And he was great on Dancing with the Stars. He was really good on that show. Am I thinking of the right person? Before I slander.
Before you go throwing him under the bus here.
We do our research, Dr. TJ Fossil.
Yeah, don't you
worry.
No,
that is him. Okay, so he was great. He's a really good dancer. And he seemed very sweet, lovely human being. There is something very churchy about his family
dynamic
situation.
Okay.
Like it feels
what?
No, not like it's not bad. It's just it's very clean.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they're like picture perfect, like influencer looking. Not that that's how they are. It's just that they're. You know how you see some families and you're just like, you're so perfect that I'm turned off by it. Yeah.
Like, are they the ones that run a 5K on Thanksgiving?
Oh yeah. They all have matching pajamas.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I
They
just
definitely have matching
100%. They have like matching pajamas. There's something very like we all get up on Sunday morning and we go to church together. Like that's the vibe I get. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I can't live that life.
Yeah, that's too much pressure. Sometimes I have cramps. Sometimes I just want to watch murder shows, which I have such a good one to tell you guys about at the end. But yeah, it's too much pressure.
Yeah. And so, while I respect it and it seems lovely for them, they seem like they're a perfect family. Like they honestly look like a stock photo of like all American blonde family.
Do you know how much tea is underneath that veneer?
You know what? Maybe I should switch it up. Maybe I should fuck James Vanderbeek because maybe there's something like wild under there, like that you just can't see. So I'm a little curious now.
He does have that power sperm, it seems, though.
Oh, no, never mind. You just ruined it for me. Never mind.
Kids.
Sticking with my original answer.
Yeah,
I'm going to fuck Josh Hartnett. I'm going to marry Freddie Prinze Jr. And I'm going to wave at James Vanderbeek from afar.
That's right. Okay. I am going to not fuck James Vanderbeek or marry him either, just because that's too many kids.
It's too many.
It's too many kids. Step kids. I don't need them. I'm good.
Yeah.
And that power sperm needs to stay the fuck away from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
By far. I do believe, though, that I am going to fuck Freddie Prinze Jr.
Okay.
Because
there's something about
him.
He has a little bit of like a nerdy vibe.
Yeah.
Which I'm like,
he's just going to prove prove fuck you. Like, I'm gonna prove I'm not a nerd.
Yeah.
Fuck the nerd right out of me.
He looks like he tries.
Yeah.
He looks
Yes.
like he tries.
He goes down for sure.
Oh,
100%.
for a long time too. Not just like
Yeah.
a like performative
No.
cunnilingus situation. This is somebody that actually enjoys it.
That's right. And we know Dr. TJ Fossil. Don't add us. Yeah, I'm gonna fuck Freddie Prinze Jr. Yeah, I'm sticking to that. And then I'm gonna marry Joshua Hartnett.
Joshua.
Joshua.
And you're going to call
I
him
am gonna
Joshua.
call him Joshua.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I like a formal thing between us.
Yeah.
Well, the whole world calls him Josh. You have to call
Yeah.
him Joshua.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
I don't know anything about Josh Hartnett's situation, but I'm definitely I think I'm gonna fuck him for sure. It's got that one night stand. I feel like is gonna be like there's a dark alley in it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. At some point, there's many different like bars with like wood. Just
It looks smoky for some reason. Like
Yeah.
even if there's no smoke, it just feels that way. All of your
Balmy.
memories are going to be smoky.
balmy summer nights.
Yeah, I feel
We're
like
in a
it'll be
slip
sweaty.
dress.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little sweaty. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
love it. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you need a minute?
I might.
know,
I
right?
might actually.
And pause.
And then I'm gonna marry Freddie Prinze Jr. I think our biggest challenge will be that he may be too nice for me.
That's
yeah.
I have a tendency, and I am working on it. Is very difficult for me to view nice as a weakness and strike out at people that are nice to me. This is what me and my therapist are working on, which is very fun. But I feel like he would be understanding about it, and we can communicate through our issues and
Seems
work through them.
patient.
Yeah.
He
Seems
really
very
does seem patient. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to go that vibe versus James Vanderbeek, who I just think that's just not going to work on a lot of different levels.
Yeah. No, you ruined him for me.
James Vanderbeek's a morning person.
Oh,
he has
well,
morning person.
now we're
Never
done.
done.
I mean, I don't know
Never
that,
mind.
but he definitely has morning person
Yeah.
energy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
some people just have that energy.
He wakes
like,
up with the kids.
like a golden retriever, right?
Yeah.
It's
He wakes up
Yeah.
with the kids, makes pancakes.
No.
just got a carbo load for that 5K.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh my God.
I hate this.
Never.
Let's go to a break. I'm over it.
All
Ugh,
right.
that's
Let's take
gross.
5 and we'll come back with stories.
And we're back. All right. Kick us off with stories, Cass.
All right. So I found this story on a thread on Reddit that I thought was pretty, we love hearing like bartender stories and things like that. So this one is like a, hey bartenders, hey wait staff. Have you seen?
I love those.
Yes.
I love it.
And I like this one because I'm like, as we start to get back into the wilds of the scene, I thought the story was hilarious. I don't know why. I'm like, I can see it play out. So here we go. I was a nightclub bartender for over a decade and have seen some shit.
I'm sure.
This
Why don't they have a podcast? Like, I bet they have enough content to have a podcast alone.
Yeah.
Just this person's stories. This is toward the end of my run back in 2016, I believe. A couple with a group of friends are going out all out one night. The guy seemed pretty chill, polite, tipped well, and was spending a lot on top shelf liquor. He kept ordering rounds from me and left a nice cash tip for me each time. Well, every time he did this, he would turn around and hand out the shots, and the girl that was with him would swipe $2 to $3 from the tip each time.
What? What?
That's
This is her side hustle.
that's gauche. For
Exactly.
Stealing tips and staying there. Do you know how
Yeah.
deep my shame would
Oh.
be? Like, there's no.
I'm sorry. You can have this back. What is wrong with you? Even though I had a feeling she was just being a bitch or sneaky, I don't know what the reason was. She could have thought he was being too frivolous with their money for all I know. And they were clearly together, so I wasn't any of my business. Towards the end of the night, she comes back and orders without him with all of the stolen singles.
Oh my God, I love it.
She walked away before I could count it, and she had overpaid, so I put it next to the register just in case. Sure enough, I hear a commotion 10 minutes later, and she is at the bar screaming that I stole her money.
Oh, my
I calmly walk
God.
over to the register and grab the money, held it up in my other hand in the tip bin that had thousands in it. I told her that we were doing just fine, that I genuinely did not need to steal her $3 from her.
Oh,
She
no.
snatched the cash out of my hand and walked away. Last call comes around, and the guy comes back for a bottle of Moet Rosé to end the night.
Gosh, how much did he spend on booze?
A lot.
And
I'm thinking.
also, have you met my friend Christina?
Honestly, yeah.
I'm like, we ended the night
Eric's
with some
like-
Moet Rosé.
Eric's like, wait, what?
Wait.
Excuse me.
I've met you.
I actually,
I live here now.
you
I live in your house with you.
spit your drink. She is next to him looking pretty drunk with a pissy look on her face. Clearly needed to go home and go to bed soon. He must have cut her off from drinking because he wouldn't give her a glass. But she kept tugging at him and asking. He walks away.
that's not
clearly
cute.
irritated with her. And she tries to order another shot with the cash that she swiped. I kindly told her that last call had already passed and walked away and started to clean up. Apparently, she went to bug him again. And he was sick of her shit this time because a few minutes later, I hear, "Bitch, you want this so fucking bad? Take it." And he proceeds to dump the rest of the bottle on her head.
Oh,
No.
Okay, though.
All right. That's
It's a
extra.
Extra.
This is
Chaos ensued.
that relationship is not healthy.
Nope.
no.
Chaos ensued from here. As the bottle was being dumped on her, she slowly started to melt to the ground with her hands over her face. He empties it and tosses the bottle aside and starts heading towards the door without another word.
Oh, no.
I didn't notice this in the moment, but as she's on the ground, she's unbuckling her platform heels. And the next thing I know, this woman grabs one heel, the empty bottle, and is bolting toward this man's barefoot,
You done.
with heel and bottle raised in her hands.
I'm so
she
scared.
throws the bottle at his back while he's running, catches up with him, and gets him right in the head with her heel. Then she fucking bolts toward me. She chucks the Bev nap caddy and the glasses at me, cussing me out, and then attempts to hop the bar. Fortunately, the bouncer snatched her right up and dragged her out. This happened so quick, it felt unreal.
What sign do you think she is?
Scorpio. Did I nail it?
I was
Did
about
I nail
That's
it?
a very
I was about to say that too. I was like,
Scorpio's throwing shoe energy.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
or it's a Taurus when you get them to that point.
Oh,
It's
shit.
like they're chill until
Yeah.
you get them like to the point where they're gonna like
Like, you gonna get a
Drag
shoe in
you.
the head.
We helped the guy and let him stay inside away from her. He needed stitches until the cops were called. An ambulance showed up. She was
Oh my
arrested.
God.
I had several of these stories, sadly, and there is actually a lot more to this one, but I kept the main details for time's sake. Some people just can't handle their alcohol.
Well, I mean, they are both in the wrong for there because
Oh,
he's the one that
100.
crossed the boundary first by throwing, like pouring
Yeah,
a
you
bottle
can't do
on
that.
the
Just-
head.
just leave,
That's,
dude.
yeah. If
that's
yeah.
assault. You can't just
you
can't do that.
So
yeah.
that's on him. He
But
had a grenade and he pulled the pin out.
he did, but I mean
Yeah.
you can't stab somebody.
No.
I mean
Also that.
No, it sounds like they have a really good relationship. I bet they're still
sounds
together.
Super healthy.
They're Ben and J-Lo.
Oh no. Okay, well, this is from a listener, and the subject line is "Strap in, ladies."
Oh,
Oh,
no.
all right. Buckled and ready.
Hi, worsties. I have been trying to decide whether or not to write this story for quite some time, but I think it's finally time. For my own protection, I will change the names and locations, but I will share a link with you three so you can read about it, which I did.
Receipts?
I did. I not only did I
no.
read the links provided, because she provided 2 links,
Oh.
I also Googled.
Oh.
So
This is Googleable.
yes, strap in. It's a doozy.
Oh.
Trigger
Okey-doke.
warning, she says, stalking and murder.
Oh, oh shit.
Well, this is a worse state.
Wow.
I was 22 years old and working at a local restaurant right after college. I sat down after work for my shift meal after a busy day when I noticed a handsome young man sitting at the bar a few seats down from me. Let's call him Tyler. He strikes up a conversation and we get to talking. He's surprisingly charming and witty with pretty eyes and a sharp jawline. He reveals to me that he is young. 17, in fact. So I tell him nicely, oh, well, you can't sit at the bar. I tell him I have to get back to work, and that is that. Fast forward to the following week, he comes into the restaurant and sits at a table in my section. I greet him and take his order, no big deal. But in the following days, he starts coming in every day and sits at the same table in my section and just watches me, stares at me while I work.
I don't like that.
This happens over and over. I remember wishing I could rip his staring eyes off my body. You know the feeling.
Yeah.
A fellow female coworker noticed I was beginning to hide in the kitchen when he arrives, so she marches right up to Tyler and tells him that he's making people feel uncomfortable and he needs to leave. Very thankful for my mama bear females who notice these things without saying a word. I am certain I won't see him again after that. A few days later, after a shift at the restaurant, I'm heading home and there is an unfamiliar car pulling into my neighborhood right behind me.
No.
I had never seen this car before in my quaint little neighborhood, and I live alone, so I decided to do a loop.
Yep.
The
Yes,
car,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. The car loops around behind me a few lengths back. I knew in the pit of my stomach who it was, but I tried to talk myself down. Nobody is following you. I'm sure you're just being paranoid. I take note of the car's make and model, but can't make out the license plate. The car turns off at some point and I go home. I start seeing this unique car everywhere. You can't miss it. On my street, in the parking lot of my job, at my grocery store, driving all over town. I'm walking downtown one afternoon and the same car turns the corner and slows down in front of me with Tyler's face smiling out the window. I freeze. I know he's following me. He says, I thought I saw you across the plaza. We should hang out sometime.
No, we should not.
No. Also,
No.
school? Are you in school?
Are you
maybe
17?
it's summer. I don't know.
Are you 17?
I lightly smile and nod and turn my head away, hoping he will leave. He eventually does. My heart is racing. Let me mention before I continue, the cops were called many times, but they, quote, couldn't do much about it. Who are you going to call if something happens? Anyway, I was constantly looking over my shoulder. I was scared to go to the grocery store because I knew he would be there. I had memorized the shape of his headlights as he followed me home. He would sit in his car on my street. This was the longest 3 months of my life. 3 months.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
My coworkers knew the situation and were also on high alert. One of my coworkers had heard through the grapevine that Tyler was moving after a bitter custody battle between his parents, reminder that he was still 17 at the time. A huge weight was lifted off my chest. He's moving. I can go back on with my life. A month goes by and I have not seen his car or his face. I'm no longer checking my rearview mirror every 10 seconds, especially at night. Life is good. Until one of my regulars at the restaurant walks through the door, makes eye contact with me, and hastily walks up to me. Did you hear about Tyler? My heart almost fell out of my ass. No, what? My voice was shaking. He's on the run. Turns out, after a messy custody battle, Tyler had to go live with his dad, and he was very angry about that. He had just turned 18. One night, he got up, grabbed his dad's gun, and shot his dad in the head while he was sleeping.
Oh.
He then stole his dad's money, took the gun and his dad's car, and took off. The 12 days he was on the run were the worst days of my life. I reverted back to my old ways in an instant, waiting for the worst. He was later detained and charged with the murder of his father.
Holy shit.
In case you were
Jesus.
wondering, he is still in prison.
Oh my
So-
gosh.
Oh my God.
He was
That is
convicted.
terrifying. That is
Yes.
absolutely, if he's on the run, oh my
Oh,
god.
Yeah, and he'd
shook.
been stalking you like months
I don't
earlier.
go home that week. I
No.
stay with anybody who
You
will
stay
take
with
me.
that coworker.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Oh,
Ooh,
my
thank you so
God.
much for writing that in. That-
Holy shit.
I'll share the links with you, or they're in our email if you want to read them. But
I'm glad you're okay. Oh my god.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Oh my
You
god.
trusted your gut though, man. You knew something was
yeah,
wrong.
because I feel like I would have talked myself into being like, "Oh, you're being silly. Just go home."
He's just 17. You know,
Yeah.
it's fine. Yeah. No. Whew. Oh my God, that is terrifying. Stalking is
The scariest. The scariest.
Yeah.
I'm going to go shut that window. I'm so nervous.
Okay. Copy pasted from a different thread, but it counts as both my craziest and worst date by miles. I matched with a guy on Tinder. We talked for a few weeks and found we had a lot in common. It was the height of the lockdown here in Australia and all the cafes were closed, so we decided to meet up and go on a bushwalk.
I love it.
Sounds very Australian.
Yes.
I know nothing about it, but
we met at a nearby shopping center and I drove us to a local national park. As I got out of the car, I saw a single key hanging from the twig of a tree.
Huh.
I joked, this is like the opening scene of a Stephen King novel. We both had a chuckle and ventured a few meters into the scrub. All around, on the ground, were indications that someone had been there
I don't like
for
it.
at least a few weeks, but had not been there for a while. We walked a little further and stumbled upon bones.
ma'am.
No. Fake news.
Bones that looked remarkably like a human femur.
No.
Plus a few others that had clearly been gnawed on by wildlife. It absolutely appeared that on this first date, we had discovered human remains. So we called the police and waited about an hour for one cop to show up.
Oh, no.
He took our details and agreed with our assessment. He called forensics and told us to go home as they were likely
They're
to be
married
there
now. They have to
all
be.
night and they'd contact us if they needed to. We were both in complete shock. We drove around for a bit just trying to process what happened.
What?
So we went to Hungry Jack's, which is Australia's version of Burger King, and ate in the car in silence. End of date. We found out the next morning they were kangaroo bones.
Oh, God.
Apparently they can look remarkably like human ones.
Oh, no.
And we never contacted each other again. And it was his birthday.
Oh,
no.
my God. Well, also, don't schedule a first date on a birthday. I feel like that's weird. That's high stakes. There's no reason to do that. You know, I was really hoping for a marriage at
I
the
know.
end
I
of
was
this.
like, you
I was
either never see each other again or you're married.
Yeah,
There is
exactly.
no two ways.
It's like if you're with the right person and you went through an adventure like that, I feel like that is the right answer. So, I mean, obviously they weren't right together if they couldn't go on this adventure and come out the other side.
Imagine that, like eating your Hungry Jacks in the car, just silently processing what's happening, and just chewing a burger.
Just a Whopper.
Just quiet.
Quiet Whoppers.
Sound of your
Wow.
chewing, no music or anything.
Oh God, happy birthday to me.
Wow. Wow.
That was a
great.
dead guy under a tree.
Oh, my God. You have a whole story here, like a whole song made up already. Oh, you guys ready for mine?
Yes.
Tainted Love.
Yes.
All right. This is the story of Loretta and Danny Burroughs. Now,
Ooh.
I got most of my information from an episode of Snapped.
Oh, classic.
I had to pay for this episode because it did not exist. I found this like in the wilds, and I always do this. Like when I find a story, I'm like, I wonder if there's like a Snapped episode or an episode like blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
So I always look. I'm like, that story or their name ID,
Yeah.
Yep.
their name
Oxygen.
Yeah,
I do that with Dateline. I'm
Dateline.
like, their name.
Dateline.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I want to hear Keith Morrison tell me more about this.
Yes. Or Mankiewicz.
Yeah, either or any of the above, honestly. I got a lot of information from Snapped. I also got information from an article by Mark Daniels for New Jersey NJ.com, South Jersey Times.
We love a local.
I love a local story.
Mm-hmm.
So this all happens in the area of New Jersey called Mays Landing. It's kind of a rural, quiet area. But let me tell you a little bit about Loretta first. Loretta grows up in Pennsylvania. Her and Danny both. They grow up in a town out in Pennsylvania, eastern Pennsylvania, so close to New Jersey.
So I'm picturing a very Mayor of Easttown accent happening right now.
Wash. A lot of washing.
A little washing.
Waterboarding.
You know, wool.
Everybody
from wool.
Everybody from Pennsylvania is so mad. They just
So
turn
mad.
it off and never
They're
turn
like,
it back on.
Yep.
I hate you guys. Yeah. Water. They had a little water there. Sorry. I can't now. Like, oh my God. Mayor of Easttown has ruined everything for me. All right. They grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania. This is where she met Danny. They met in high school. And they had dated, off and on in high school. Kind of, I wouldn't say they're college sweethearts. They ended up breaking up in high school, and he had started dating somebody else in high school and did marry that woman. So they, it wasn't like a very serious thing.
It's a Ben and J-Lo situation.
Yeah.
They found themselves.
That's right.
Each other.
They found each
They
other.
found themselves, and then they found each other again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like where you went with that. It's very
I
nice.
have a feeling it's not going to stay
Oh,
sweet.
no. This is a very sweet story. Just kidding. So, she was, I think, a little upset about it, because I think that deep down she probably really still had feelings for Danny, but they went their separate ways. Danny got married. He had a son and a daughter. Loretta married as well. And not long after, like, they had gotten married, they kind of just went their separate ways. They didn't see each other. It was just, they went their separate ways. Danny eventually does get divorced. And during the divorce, kind of becomes estranged from his kids. Divorce can do that to people, and they go their separate ways, and it can be very, divorce can be toxic sometimes to the kids and the family. And, it kind of seemed like they did get kind of estranged. Also during that time, like not long after, Loretta's husband actually died from a really tragic overdose, and they weren't sure if whether it was like a suicide or if it was an accidental overdose, but tragically died, right? So there was both these two lonely hearts out there in the open again. And Danny learns from one of their old schoolmates that this had happened. This is like about a year or so after her husband had passed, and was like, oh wait, Loretta's single. I mean, that's kind of a weird way to say it, but is available again. And we had a really great rapport, and I want to see where she's at and what's going on with her. So he'd heard about the tragedy, really, and more than anything, because they had been friends, he was like, I just want to reach out and offer my condolences first and foremost. Just like, how are you? I'm so sorry. Offer sympathy. And then it kind of blossomed. This kind of like old flame that had been there from high school seemed to just kind of pick up where it left off. And they really, sparked a new interest. And
How old are they at this point?
so at this point, this is like 94. They're actually in their 40s at this point.
Okay.
So they're much more mature. They're in different places in their
theory.
lives. And they're definitely, well, yes, in theory, hopefully. They're a little bit more mature. So they're like, definitely, both of them have had kids. They're past kids having ages, and, they're just ready to like, they're like, oh, we found somebody and we're really connecting, right? Like, this is very exciting. So, again, old flames sparked. Loretta and he were living in different areas. Danny had been living in Mays Landing in New Jersey, and it kind of like picked up pretty quick. And so eventually she did move out to Mays Landing to live with him in his house. He had this house that he'd bought that was kind of a bit of a dump when he got it, and he fixed it all up and really made it super nice. And she moved in with him, and they ended up getting married in like 1999, and seemingly super happy. Like, honestly, just like super happy to be together. In fact, like her kid, Danny's son was on there, or daughter was on there on the Snapped episode, and was like talking like, she brought them together. Like he was really estranged from his children, and like with her and the family, like she started reaching out to them and like bringing them together and like really pulling the family unit back together. And, you know, like he was having, you know, new open communication with his son and his daughter that he hadn't had in years. And like, it was a really awesome relationship. Like everybody is really, it's a real family and everybody's super excited. And again, they both have older grown children. And, you know, it kind of comes to a place where they're like, the relationship gets so good with his kids that when his daughter moves to Florida, his son had already moved to Florida. When his daughter moves, he's like, man, I really think I would like to move to Florida. I think we should move to Florida to be closer to my family. Like, I want to be close with my kids. Like, I miss so much of their life. And I really just want to have these moments with them. I feel like I miss so much. You know, I want to have this family unit back. I'm so happy. But she was like, yeah, but my daughter's here and I have a grandchild. And, you know, I think there was a little bit of torn.
I feel like that happens a lot.
Yeah.
With couples.
Yeah.
You know, where like one person wants to stay somewhere and somebody else wants to go, or they want to live in different places, or they have different visions for
what the future means for both of them.
Right.
Right. And I mean, they're both like, you know, inching up on retirement age. And so, you know, but, you know, big picture, he had they started to kind of getting to a place where they were fighting about this a little bit more, and where it was like, okay, this is really causing a little bit of tension. Nothing that like any of the neighbors knew. I mean, it was very just like kind of low key. It was more of a tension point than like a real,
because what do you do?
Battle,
because,
right?
I mean, it's both viewpoints are valid.
Exactly.
Like she wants to be around her kid and grandchild, and he wants to be around his kids, and they live on opposite sides of you know the country, really. So it's tough. That's a tough situation.
Absolutely. And so when Danny's brother and he are very close, and Danny's brother showed up one morning at the house and was like, hey, I haven't heard from Danny, and you know, we always get together. They're very, very close. Like they would get together like every weekend, every other weekend to go like fishing and do stuff and always hang out. And he hadn't heard from his brother. And so he went to the house and was like, hey, where is Danny? And she was like, what are you talking about? He fucking left me with the waitress up the street and went to Florida. He'd been wanting to go to Florida. So he up and left.
And
he's
somebody
like,
with him. All right.
he's like, last I saw of him, and she was like pissed. She's like, last I saw of him, she pulled in with a yellow Hummer. He hopped in and they were gone.
Yellow Hummer.
Be specific.
That will not be hard to find.
Okay.
A yellow Hummer. And I'm sorry, wait, she's a waitress? I mean, and I've been a waitress, and so then I have no shade to throw on anybody, but I do know that I could never.
Very expensive,
and a Hummer, a road trip vehicle, it is not.
It is not. No. The gas alone she did not make in
How
her
many
salary
times
this year.
are you stopping to have to get gas if you're driving a Hummer across the country?
To Florida, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this, and I don't know where this is going. I've been wrong before, so I'm hesitant to speak on this. But this feels like whenever you're telling a lie and you're throwing in details that are unnecessary.
Like Albanian kidnappers.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Exactly.
Exactly.
A yellow Hummer feels like you didn't need to.
Yeah. That's unnecessary to the story you are weaving right now.
Yeah. So, but she was like, no, she's like, he took off with this waitress. He left me once again. I mean, somebody's holding a grudge since high school. She was
come on.
you know, I mean, he's left me before, so.
Ma'am, it's been 30 years.
Right? Like, so he's like, that's really weird, because he's like, I can't even get a hold of him by cell phone. She's like, I literally just talked to him like 2 days ago. He called me and was like, you know, we're done.
Me and the waitress are having a great time.
Yeah. So
just kicking it in Miami.
wanted to call you and rub it in.
Right. Yeah.
Call you from Florida and tell you how much
taking
fun
the
I'm having.
Hummer all over the place.
But the other weird thing was that he didn't take his truck, and Danny had been known by everybody, his family, his everyone who knew Danny was like, he is frugal AF. Like frugal. Like he didn't like to just spend frivolous money. So he left pretty much his life earnings, his house, his truck, his brand new truck, a boat, a garage full of very expensive tools.
Kind of sus.
Yeah. But he was like, I guess he just wanted to up and deuce to Florida. He was like,
dude. And this is what, and I know we've talked about it before because I'm like, people use this as an excuse all the time. The cops always think, oh, maybe they just up and left. I'm like, is there a vast amount of people that just fucking deuce out of life?
No.
You know, leaving everything behind where
No.
that's even a
That you would
plausible
work that hard.
theory?
Yeah.
Because it feels like it's never
Not.
what happens.
No, I mean,
Never.
It has happened,
Sure.
but that is definitely not the most common thing because it's hard. Most people aren't going to do things that are that difficult when they don't even have to. Because it's not like it's not like he would have to do that. Like
It's not like he's running from the mob.
if he has balls enough to fuck off with a waitress he just met to Florida and call his ex-wife on the road, like
He's gonna take that truck and boat for sure. He's moving to Florida. Take your boat.
If he can do that, he can break up with her and sell his house. Like I don't understand
what the rush is.
Well,
it doesn't make sense.
He did neither of those things, and so eventually she was like, "I don't know what to tell you. This is what happened." The police. So he's like, I feel like this is suspect.
And
so
he's
the
like,
brother's like,
he calls and he's like, boop,
9-1 fucking
Yeah.
1.
hello.
calls the police, goes to the police station, was like, hey, no one has heard from my brother. His daughter hasn't heard from him. The ones who live in Florida. That's weird because that's apparently where he was going.
Right.
Literally no one has heard from him. And the last person to see him was his wife. When they go over and they're like, well, the wife said that he ran off with a waitress, so he must have run off with the waitress. And he's like, well, but definitely didn't happen. And so
Okay, but
can you try
Can
to
we-
reach him?
can we do like a
Maybe a
even
phone
the
call
most
or-
minor investigation?
could you maybe call the police station in the town where his daughter lives? Anything.
Anything.
Could you do maybe?
anything?
Anybody seeing a yellow Hummer driving around?
No.
Like
Anyone, anything?
Yeah.
Who's this waitress? Could we maybe ask a few questions? Like,
Yeah.
what was her first name?
Yeah.
No one had heard of this waitress. Nobody knows anything about it. His best guy friend was like, this is something guys would tell each other. Like, he's like, I literally didn't know anything about this. So when I heard the story, it was like, this is really weird.
It would be
like,
a
I feel
very
like this is
weird
something.
thing.
Yeah, guys would tell each other.
Very
this.
weird to not tell your
Anyone.
guy friends, but to tell, to explain the situation to your ex-wife. Like, if you're going to just fuck off without telling anyone, why even tell her? Just leave. Like,
yeah.
It's weird.
It's really strange.
So again, filed missing person report, but the police are like, all shoulders. Sorry about you. Don't know what to do. He ran off with another woman, this waitress, their Audi 5000.
Then close the case.
Yep. Yep.
Shut the
Case.
folder, put it in the file cabinet.
That's it. Done and
We're
done.
done and dusted.
We've done everything we could.
Yeah.
We literally wrote on pieces of paper.
Another hard day's work.
Yeah. So, years go by. This is like 99 was when they got married. This all happened in like early 2000s. And, by now they're like, years have gone by. She's like, I can't afford this house any longer. Like, I have to sell this house. Well, luckily, he signed over a power of attorney to her.
Why would he do that?
So
Why?
that she could sell the house and all of his stuff so that he could just be done with it, right? He's moved on. So she sells the house.
Sounds fake.
Moves to a smaller house, sells all his tools, sells his truck, sells his boat, sells all of his stuff off.
Meanwhile, his kids are like, the fuck? Can you imagine being
No,
his kids?
not even a little bit. So, and then in 2009, this is like a year later, she's like, or no, this is 2 years later. Sorry, 2009, 2 years later, she files for divorce. And she's like, he's clearly not coming back. So I'm going to go ahead and get this divorce now. Because why am I married to a man who ran off to Florida? Right?
Done up and left.
He up and left. So
Mm-hmm.
it's May 2013. She'd already moved to the smaller place. And she's like, you know what? I'm moving again. So it's May 2013. She's packing up her moving stuff. She's moving again to Cape May. And Danny's brother, vigilant as ever, this is years later, is like, I actually heard a little story about Loretta's former husband.
Yeah, I was just going to say the tragic overdose death.
Yeah.
Seems like it's going to become relevant at some point.
And this tragic overdose death, as he finds out from her ex-husband's family, is like, yeah, he never did drugs a day in his life that we've ever known. He wasn't a drug user. And we found a bunch of pill bottles around him, but it was very suspect, but nobody really raised any flags because it was like, what do you do? You're so traumatically, you're traumatized by losing your father or your whomever or whatever. And you're just like, oh my God, my dad died or my whoever died, my brother died or whatever. You're just like, and it kind of felt kind of open and shut at the time because you didn't really have any reason to suspect otherwise. But it seems like they did have a little bit to suspect otherwise.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I don't. If that was my loved one and I'd never known them to be a drug user, I mean, and look, people have secrets, and lots of people use drugs in secret, and nobody knows, But I would at least raise the question.
Yeah.
Like, that seems suspicious.
It's a little weird. If Chris suddenly died of a drug overdose,
right?
I would have 5 million questions.
Same.
Yeah. And if Chris died of a drug overdose and you, Cassie, were just like, I don't know, I guess he died of a drug overdose, me and Christina would be side-eyeing so fucking
oh
my
God,
be
under
under
I
the
feel like
table,
you're
like
looking at me
texting.
This
like,
seems really weird, right?
oh my God, I don't like the way that this happened. I don't like where this. I don't like where this story is going.
It would never happen with you. But I'm just saying, to put it into perspective.
No, I totally.
Like, it would be fucking.
I mean, yeah. I mean, yes, exactly.
For any of us, if that was the case.
Yeah. Well, it seems like they did have some reason to be suspicious of Loretta. And it goes just beyond a little bit about her husband. Turns out Loretta was twice the felon. In 1996, she had embezzled $884,000.
That's almost
a
$1 million.
million.
That's almost $1 million
For her gambling problem. And then spent
on gambling. Almost $1 million on gambling.
I just got sweaty pits instantly.
15 months in prison. Well, that wasn't enough for her. She also had another embezzling charge from a car dealership that she worked for.
For how much?
It didn't say.
Oh,
Okay, but I'm like,
$884,000 is a
question,
lot.
query.
Yep.
So she has to pay that money back, right?
I don't know.
The $884,000.
I don't know. If you file
I'm sure there's a fine,
bankruptcy,
for
does it
sure.
go away? I don't know.
I don't know. But this is 1996. Remember, she got married in 1999.
Yeah.
So Danny knew about this and stuck with her during all of this stuff. So all this prison sentence and everything. And this is all kind of, I don't know if it's news too, but it is definitely like, hey, what?
Yeah.
A little bit to the family. Like,
right.
wait, I feel like there's a little bit more, something
It's
about
a big
Loretta.
secret to keep.
There's a lot
from
of,
your family.
lot of information. And then now we're kind of learning some newly developed information in this case about her husband. That seems weird. So there is speaking of developed, a newly developed cold case squad that has just formed in their small town. So the cold case squad is like, tell me a little bit more about Loretta.
We're on the case.
Yeah. And they were like, they dusted off that really tiny folder with the 3 words written on it that were like, ran
Heat
off.
done left.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly.
And they were like, that's interesting. So they go through some paperwork and they're like, so he left her all of his stuff. That's interesting that she sold off. Okay. So how did she do that? Oh, a power of attorney, you say. Let me take a little look-see here on this paperwork that has been definitely
Forged.
Yes.
Yep.
Most definitely forged. And so they're like, okay.
You know,
We
this is
definitely
amazing.
have you for
They're
fraud.
like,
It's amazing to me because I'm like,
Judge.
I can't even sneak into a movie. And
Okay,
like,
thank
you're
you.
forging whole ass legal documents,
Yep.
like government documents, and just like bold as day. Like I get it. Oh my God. I used a fake ID one time and I like freaked the fuck
You're still
out.
sweating about it.
Yes, right now. I can't imagine living this kind of life. How?
So they're like, beep, boop, boop, beep, boop. Hi, Judge. We're going to want to get a warrant for Loretta. Burroughs. She may have some paperwork and we feel like we need to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, boop, boop, boop. Loretta's at her new home, just getting boxes unloaded, going through the whole Keegan experience that she's going through right now.
Settling in.
And they're like, knock, knock, knock. Hi, Loretta. So here's a warrant.
Thanks for boxing all that stuff up for us. We're just gonna take the ones titled
that are
important
labeled
documents.
And they're like, we're going to go ahead and take a look at all these real quick, and just see if there's any incriminating information here. And she's like, sure, have at it. And he's like, and the officer was like, oh, and just so you know, we also have officers executing a search warrant at your old place. And she's like, hey, what?
No, sorry.
No, this place is fine, but no. Do not go into that closet. I told you. But they did go into that closet, and in that motherfucking closet was an old, like you would put Christmas decorations in, like a
big bin.
A bin with, those trees that you hang in your car.
No.
And mothballs.
No.
Stop it.
And dryer sheets.
Oh,
right.
no.
You can't even get a chest freezer. You
Once-
can't invest in a.
Once they pulled these things back, they unveiled the cut up body of Danny Burroughs.
Oh my God. She's like, I just purchased 100,000 Christmas tree air fresheners, and that will hide the smell of death.
It didn't. It didn't.
Also, what is the deal?
I mean, it did until it didn't.
Yeah.
We've told multiple stories now of people just leaving a body in a home and just like later days, and I'm just like, what? It's so bold. Like, it is so bold to just like leave it there and be like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I joke about this sometimes, and now Eric has picked up on this joke too, where like if something happens and I don't want to deal with it right away, I'm like, oh, that's a problem for future me.
Yes.
And I really feel like these people lean into that mentality all the fucking way.
They just straight
They're
up
just
move rather than
you
try
know
and
what?
figure out a solution.
Future me is going to deal with this.
Yeah.
And deal with it amazingly. But now me
Can't.
Well, now
do that. Never me ever handled it for her. Never me did. Never. Her way of handling it was air freshener trees.
Years.
You
went
and dryers
and mothballs.
And mothballs and dryer
that's
sheets.
disrespectful. That's terrible.
It's horrible. So apparently what she told detectives is that they had an argument about Florida.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to snort laugh at that. It just.
They had a horrible argument about Florida, and she went downstairs and took a knife, and she was going to cut herself because she was so upset. And he came downstairs, and they fought over the knife, and she accidentally stabbed him.
And you didn't.
And this is
call an
like
ambulance?
the case of Chicago. She accidentally stabbed him multiple times and then cut up his body.
Accidentally.
Cool.
I just don't
Accidents
understand
happen.
how a fight about where you're going to live leads to like that feels like something that is like a level 2 couple thing to talk about and work out. And maybe you do have to split up or whatever.
Sure.
But that's a level 2 that she's taken to a level like
10.
412,
Yeah,
true. So it's just like, I don't understand how that's the snap point for Loretta.
It's
I
not.
think it's not.
Yeah.
I think that this
think
is
she's
all
just-
a farce. I think it's all about the money.
Oh, jeez.
I think it's all about her gambling problem.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that.
is she gambling again?
Oh, yeah.
Your eyes lit up.
Girl.
Gambling addiction is so wild.
Yeah.
So I had to legitimately not take my debit card with me.
Oh, yeah.
to like
No,
Vegas.
no.
I'm that person that's
Yeah.
like, I'll just pull out Another
bit more.
hundo. Another
more.
hundo.
I'm so opposite. I will never have a gambling addiction.
Same.
I'm too scared.
I'm a little between you guys. Like, I'm a little bit more the golden mean between the two of you.
My first job, I used to steal scratchers.
Oh, we've discussed
girl,
that.
Yeah.
I am literally
That's a
like,
level.
yeah,
It's a level.
So,
You're level 1 on
Yeah.
the steps to becoming a gambling addict.
$884 or $84,000 versus my $23 in
Yeah.
scratcher.
Look, I did some
yeah.
shady
I quit
shit.
my job because I was like, I can't afford to put $23 in the till, so I got to bounce out of this.
Bye.
I'm out.
I hope they don't realize that
I
the
didn't
books
win,
are wrong.
so I'm out.
I'm on the run.
Look out for me in my yellow
In my yellow Hummer, I up and left.
up and left. And my name then was Loretta. No. When asked why she stored her husband's remains in her closet, she said she couldn't bring herself to part with him.
What? What?
She's
Just a hopeless romantic.
So, fun thing, guys. She did confess, but she wasn't read her rights. So it was inadmissible. Her gambling addiction did likely lead to the need for money, and she couldn't sell off his estate without some type of misfortune or something happening. So the power of attorney was actually made 2 months before his actual death.
oh
She worked in a nursing home, and one of the elderly women that she was taking care for, her son was a lawyer and helped her work up the papers. Didn't think anything of it. Just
Right.
this nice woman he's helping her out. During the autopsy, though, they did find drugs in his system. They found, this was like she probably drugged him first
to make it easier.
She did end up getting 55 years, and she will be over 100 years old before she is eligible for parole. And now they are also reinvestigating her first husband, Joe's death.
yeah.
Wow.
Oh, good story. Oh my goodness. Money.
I people who can do that, like, it's so wild to me that people exist who can do something like that and then just go about their lives.
Yeah.
I know I guess that's why true crime is so fascinating,
Yeah.
period, is just the fact that people
It's
are capable.
in your hall closet.
Yeah, you walk by it every day. You have to be smelling
I'm
it.
sure-
There aren't enough,
For your freaking grandkid is hanging their coat up in it
So-
and
Yeah.
stuff like
So-
that.
Okay, story about that then. I wasn't going to tell the story because it felt like a little wild off. But there was a neighbor of hers that was talking about her, and she was like, oh my God, she was so amazing. And, that neighbor who was like, I don't get it. It was sweet old Loretta. And my daughter always spent the night at Loretta's house, and she loved hanging out with Loretta. And in hindsight, my daughter said that when she was staying in the spare room, that she was like, this closet is off limits. You're absolutely not to go in there. And she's like, I just didn't think twice about it until after the fact.
Wow.
do you ever think that we've definitely met a murderer?
Oh, yeah.
I think about that all the time. I
Yeah.
think I've talked about it on the show.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely happened. Somebody's checked you out at a grocery
Oh,
store.
no, don't say that.
Or been sitting next to you on a plane.
No,
who
do
has
not say
murdered
that.
someone because look at how many stories there are. And nobody ever suspects anyone ever, apparently. So,
Yeah.
the only
I
reason...
suspect everyone. That's the difference.
That's the way to live.
That's
Yeah.
the difference. I suspect everyone.
Yeah, that's the reason why, when these stories make me so angry when police are like, oh, okay, and then
Yeah.
just don't do it, because I'm like, wait, I am suspicious of everything.
Yes.
You don't want to pick that apart? You don't want the tea? You don't want the details, the receipt?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know more about that
Yeah.
waitress.
I think
the
more of
yellow
us should
Hummer.
actually be detectives.
Oh.
Look, I mean, we have all definitely...
Well, this is why there needs to be more women detectives.
Well,
I know,
but-
because
but
damn
also-
sure.
I'm nosy as fuck. I want the whole story.
Oh, well,
Yep.
for sure. I mean, there's that part. We have all phoned it in at the end
Okay,
of a
true.
work week.
Yeah.
Okay? We've
Yeah.
definitely done that.
Facts.
I've
God.
done it facts, hard, right? Where it's just you're not putting 110% into your work day. We've all been
I
there.
got that long weekend coming up.
However,
He probably did run off with that waitress.
the stakes at our jobs
That's right.
are far lower. I
True.
don't feel like you should be allowed to just be like, look, it's been a long week. I'm fucking tired. And I don't want to investigate this potential homicide.
That's
like,
right.
You don't get to do that.
The stakes at my job is somebody's hair gets messed up a little bit or something.
Like, look, an email might have to wait till Monday.
Yeah.
Like, that's as
Yeah.
bad as it gets, you know? Like,
Yeah.
maybe a deadline will be missed by one day. You know, like, that's how bad it gets at my job. It's not like a lot's riding on it, you know?
Right. Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen that Snapped episode. That was good.
So this actually all started because so shout out to Boobies and Newbies, Kelly.
Oh,
Kelly was moving recently, and she had said that she saw her and her friend Michelle, who's also a listener, were listening to our story, heard my story last week, and had seen it on an episode of, I don't remember what she said. And so I looked up that episode, and this was one of the other stories on it. I didn't watch it, but I was like, let me know more about or it was an episode of one of the Deadly Women or something like that.
Okay.
And I was like,
Gotta love Deadly Women.
Okay, I'm gonna dig. I want to peel back this little nugget.
Can I also say, I want to give a shout out to Kelly and Michelle, because last year Kelly moved to Minnesota and Michelle went with her, and this year she's moving to Oregon and they're driving back through California, and so they've done this road trip across the country together twice, and both times they've listened to the podcast on the road trip, listened to our podcast together while they were road tripping, which I just think is so sweet. I love that we can keep people company on a drive.
I do too. And I haven't been on Facebook a lot for the past 2 weeks. I want to give a big shout out to everybody that reached out about my puppy.
Yeah.
But we have an incredible group of listeners who are just like so supportive and do these cool, like amazing things.
Yeah.
So just much love for all the people in our group. And hey, if you're a new listener, don't you feel like you want to be a part of this?
Yeah.
Join us.
Yeah. Join us.
Yeah. Yeah, we have all of the places that you can hang out with us, but we get some really great feedback from our Facebook. If you want to join our Facebook group, we have the most amazing worsties who, you know, are so supportive of each other and just really amazing. So
And of us. Like, we were just talking about, you know, not only were they so wonderful and reached out. I saw all the comments on social media about Tig Dog, which is Christina's faithful pup for many, many years. But also, you know, we just assembled, and Cassie, you helped me a ton with putting the bags together, and Christina, you donated a bunch of bags as well. We assembled all of these hygiene kits for our unhoused community members, and they were just donated, and it was such a wonderful thing. We were able to give 145 bags. And
first round
for the first round, and we're going to be doing it again. So if you have Ipsy bags or any other like little beauty bags, we will take those, hold on to them. But I wanted to give a shout out to several of our worsties who actually not only, you know, did people purchase things off of the wish list, but people actually, I think,
Laura Lee is an incredible woman.
Yes. Laura Lee actually put them all in a box herself, like collected them all and put them in a box and went to the post office, which I feel like if anybody's trying to get me to go to the post office for any reason, I'm immediately like, no, I don't want to go. Yeah. But there were quite a few of our listeners who sent items in. So big thank you. It's so appreciated. It didn't go unnoticed. We love you guys.
Yeah, it's been really awesome. And honestly, like Keegan said, if you have more, we have stuff, and we have an Amazon wish list, and maybe we can post that again. And I mean, I'd like to keep continuing doing it. I think it was really amazing, and it's a great opportunity to really, especially the women in the unhoused population just don't have the.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing it maybe once a year, just to have it as like an annual thing. So we'll keep you posted on when that happens next.
But there's tons of fun things, and not just fun things, but necessary things. One of the things I hold on to from my parents is like, they were big believers in doing charity close to home.
Yes, I agree.
And that's something like. The little things that you do in your neighborhood mean so much. So like, just try to make your square of the world the best place that you can make it. you know,
And there are so many easy ways to do that as well. You know, here in Los Angeles, it's heating up. It's going to be a hot summer. It's going to be a really, really hot, dry summer. I'm sure that that's how it's going to be all over the country. Something that you can do is hand out waters.
Yeah,
keep a
keep
pallet of
waters
water
in
in
your
your car. You
Yeah.
know, that you can hand out to people who are on the street in your neighborhood, or you know, there's lots of little things, little ways that we can kind of spread kindness, because life is hard.
Yeah. It's chaos. Be kind.
That's right.
Shout out.
That's right.
So what are you guys watching this week?
I watched the new Conjuring movie.
I watched the second one last night in preparation because I haven't seen any of them.
What?
So I just watched the second one
Oh,
and promised Eric that I would watch the new one.
the
so how
first
is
one's
it?
the best one. So if you haven't seen that one, that's the one you should watch. Because
Yeah, you guys disagree. He likes the second one better.
okay, we will discuss later.
Uh-oh,
But I
uh-oh.
like the second one, but there's things about it that I was just like, meh. You know, I think anyway. So the third one is good. I love the Conjuring universe. Like, I just love it. Like, as like a horror fan, some of the movies are better than other movies.
I've been sticking a pin on Ed and Lorraine Warren as a Tainted Love for the longest time.
Their story is a little wacky.
Yeah.
That story is a
I'm
little.
like,
I literally
love-
don't know what we're talking about.
It finds a way. I know.
you
don't-
wouldn't like, you try to keep a good 6 feet social distance from
That's right.
all
Anything
horror
Yeah.
related. But I love that I love that there's an entire horror movie universe that is really based on
They're like,
a marriage.
yeah.
Like a relationship between two people. And it's kind of like wild, and even though they're all quote based on a true story, they're so like a little ridiculous, you know.
loose.
So it's kind of funny. But of the Conjuring universe movies, I definitely think the Conjuring ones, so Conjuring 1, 2, and 3, are the best ones, because then you've
have
got like Annabelle,
the Nun.
the Nun.
These are all my Eli Roth movies. Oh no, wait,
No,
that's-
James Wan did
that's right.
a bunch of them, but I don't think he did all of them. So it's Vera Farmiga and Patrick
Watson?
Ewing?
Wilson?
Wilson. That's it. But
I like
I
Patrick
actually,
Ewing, the basketball player.
I really enjoyed it, but
So,
I don't know. I enjoyed it. I actually
Okay.
really did. I love the Conjuring universe. I really enjoyed it. I think some of the Satanism stuff was a little heavy-handed.
you're like, we get it, Satan. Wow.
Right, and I'm like, this feels a little satanic panicky to me, but the movie itself I enjoyed. So
Okay. I watched a movie with Alec Baldwin and Sienna something called Imperfect Murder.
Sounds
What?
terrible.
So it's not last night, but the night before. It was an hour and 11 minutes. Ladies,
why is it so
anybody
short?
that's listening, exactly. Why is this so short? This movie
Sounds terrible.
has the distinction of winning a very prestigious award.
Okay.
And that is the absolute worst movie that Christina Connor has ever seen in her fucking
No way,
life.
because we have seen
We've
some
seen
bad
some
fucking
shit.
movies.
Dude, I'm saying it here. You heard it here. I
Oh,
will
no.
watch Legends of the Fall
Oh.
twice
Oh.
in a row.
That's
like
before
4.5
I would
hours.
watch.
This is a 1 hour movie.
I will do that before I watch that movie again.
I'm sorry, what's
I
it called?
cannot believe Imperfect Murder.
I'm gonna watch it
sounds-
now.
Horrible. I can't wait.
Who I have so many questions. First of all,
I'm like,
why is
so
Alec
mad.
Baldwin in this movie? Like, who did he hurt that he had to do this movie?
fucked
Secondly,
up.
Lost a bet.
He
like
fucked
an
up.
hour and 11 minutes. What did you cut out of this movie? It's
Everything.
not even feature length.
You
Is
cut
this a
everything.
student project?
Oh, no.
Like, possible.
Oh,
Everything
she's-
about
she's
this
tied
movie
up.
is so. Like, I can't.
Oh,
I
no.
cannot say how much I hated.
I want to
this
watch
movie.
it so bad.
Hated.
now.
It was
Is this
late
going to be
at
good
night,
for a
and
Tainted
we were
Love
like,
movie?
"Oh, you know
Christina
what?
won't watch it again, so I guess we can't do it.
That's right. I guess not.
You may be able to talk me into it just for a Tainted Love movie. It is the worst. It is the
Is
worst.
it new?
It is newer.
Did you watch the whole thing?
Yes.
Why?
Yes. Because I was like,
You
there
life is
literally
too short.
has to be a reason, a message, a meaning, something. There's no way that millions of dollars were spent because the cast, there are tons of people in it. Carl Icahn is in it at one point.
I'm
fucking
guessing-
Charles Grodin.
I'm guessing the Sienna is probably Sienna Miller.
Yes.
Yeah, who is a name.
Yes. Name people in a 1 hour and 11-minute film that
Why'd
was
you finish it?
mouth agape the whole time because I had to know.
Well, it's only an
had
hour. I mean,
to know.
that's less
And it
time than an
felt
episode of Hoarders.
Interminable. I wish I had watched Hoarders instead. Oh my goodness. I cannot unrecommend this enough. Stay away from
I've
it.
never seen you so mad.
So angry about it. I'm
You're-
very, very heated.
You're hot.
On the other side of the coin is there is a new murder show on Hulu that's like, what's it called? It starts with an A, but it's something, it's like every episode is different. So there's multiple episodes and it's like, are they guilty or are they innocent?
Ooh, that would drive me mad. I don't know about that.
And so it's like they set you up with a case and stuff like that. And then you follow it all the way through the trial, whether they get guilty or innocent. And it's like, these little short, like 50-minute things, but I'm like, ooh, I think that motherfucker's guilty or whatever. It's really interesting. And the cases so far have been, they had a Munchausen's by proxy case.
Okay, you have to look it up. We can't deprive our listeners.
I am absolutely like enthralled by the idea of Munchausen by proxy. Like that absolute, like that whole concept has me. I'm like,
while Christina
Wow.
looks that up, I was listening to the podcast Pseudocide on it's Spotify exclusive podcast, so it's only on Spotify, but it's the same people.
and I decided I can't download Spotify just for that.
No, I understand. But there was a Munchausen by internet episode. It was like the very first time that happened, where like someone creates a fake person who then they they have cancer,
this.
right?
Yeah.
And then they die,
no.
right? Yeah, interesting.
The show is called Accused, Guilty or Innocent.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna have to look mine up too because I do not remember what it's called. I have not had time to watch TV this week, but that story of you telling us about that show, the Guilty or Accused or whatever thing, reminded me that like a week ago or something, Chris and I decided one night, we were like, I saw this thing and I was like, I have to watch this. It's a show and I think it's on like ABC or something, and it is hosted by dude from Community, what's his name, Joel McHale.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Hosted by Joel McHale.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a crime scene cooking show.
Oh yes.
What?
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
So
I want to see this.
Okay. So it's bakers,
Uh-huh.
and they come in and they have to go investigate a quote unquote like cooking crime scene. So it's like a baking crime scene.
Oh.
So they have to find like all the ingredients and be like, what was made in this kitchen?
Okay.
And so they have to be like, oh, okay, well, there's like 8 eggs. So maybe there was a meringue, or, like they have to like piece together all these clues to figure out what the baking thing was.
This tastes lemony. Maybe there was lemon in it.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So we did watch it. I did fall asleep. I can't say that it was good, but I can't really say that it was bad. I feel like it's one of those things. I was like, wait, you were like, wait, this was the room. They were like, guys, 2 things that are super hot right now: baking shows,
Crime
shows.
Put those hands together. Yes.
Crime baking.
Nice.
Sandwich. I love it. I think that would be something I would love to actually do. I think that would be really
it'd
fun.
be interesting.
If somebody, maybe not like a full on crime scene, but I love the idea of developing, like figuring out a recipe based on clues.
Right.
It's
So
kind
they have
of,
to
like, really
recreate
cool.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Speaking of, if you guys haven't seen High on the Hog yet,
Oh my God.
What is that?
I can't wait to
What is it?
watch
it's
it.
it's a cooking show on well, it's not a cooking show. It's a food show on Netflix that's about the influence of African culture on food. And dude, one episode they were
On
talking
American-
about
on American
on
clothing.
American
Mhm.
culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris
There's
watched the whole thing.
one episode about George Washington's chef, Hercules
Hercules,
Caesar,
yeah.
who I was like, first of all, never heard of this guy before ever. He's my new hero.
Yeah.
His
We
story
had his
is
cookbook whenever
incredible.
when I was growing up. My parents have his cookbook. Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
It's incredible.
Because
Chris
a lot of
and
his
I-
recipes were like passed off as they were
Martha
Martha
Washington's
Yeah.
recipes. Chris and I had a long conversation about
I believe this.
Like we
This tracks.
had like a full, 40-minute conversation about this show, and I still have not seen it, but I think it's right up my alley. I can't wait to watch it. I think it's going to be surprisingly emotional. Actually,
It really is. And I'll cut this part out, but this is the exact reason why critical race theory needs to be taught in schools 100%, because you are missing out on so much of the history if you're only telling it through one lens. And there's so much of it where I'm like,
So much really amazing
So
good shit.
The food we eat in this country would not, American cuisine wouldn't be American cuisine if it weren't for enslaved people. Like, period.
all of the different things that we're missing right now from the conversation about who we are as America. It really, really moved me. And I thought it was a great program, and I thought it was especially well done. That first episode is real rough though. So if you watch it, go in knowing that you're going to get your feels way up.
Yeah, carry like a.
I hate feeling my feels.
Yeah, I hate feeling
you know
feels.
this.
It's intense. Like it's intense.
Well, I'm so glad that we've had this intense conversation.
Well, if you guys have something that we should watch, if you have stories, be they long or short, if you just want to reach out and say hi, go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstatepodcast.com, and we love you so much.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.